How's everybody doing out there? We ran into a situation on our yellow muscle car that we just got done painting, and it's in a way a major situation, but then mostly it's not. Now, if you're a beginner at this or an amateur, you would look at this and say, oh my God, it's a fiasco and I don't know how to fix this. I'm going to have to paint the whole deck lid, because that's what we're working on here. This is the trunk lid slash deck lid of the vehicle. And what happened is when I was painting this deck lid, and I'm going to kind of get the angle of it so you can see it a little better, is this lip right here, I didn't get enough paint on it. Now, when we're using yellow, yellow takes a lot of paint to cover. You should actually charge double when you're painting a yellow car, because you have to paint it twice as much, if that makes any sense. Let's just say, for instance, if I was going to paint this car black, I'd only have to put 2 coats of paint on it and it's done. It's covered. But to paint yellow, it takes 4 to 5 coats to cover. Now, I painted this with 5 coats. This is a 5-coat paint job. That means that I put 5 layers of base coat on this car. But obviously, when I was painting my piece, because I painted this off the car, I didn't paint it on the car. When I was painting it, I would come back down here, but I wasn't paying attention, and I wasn't hitting this like I should have. I didn't have my gun at the right angle, and when you're standing up and you're looking down at it, you're not really paying attention because you got all the other stuff that you're painting at the same time. So this is a common mistake that a lot of people make, and what happened is from approximately right here all the way over to here, we didn't get enough paint on that. Now, to do the right thing, of course, would be to fix it. A lot of shops that you take the car to, because once you get the chrome on it and you get the tail lights in it and the bumpers and all that, you'll probably never even know that this wasn't painted properly. You wouldn't even know it. But if you're an honest guy like my friend Pete, you're going to fix a situation. That way you can go to sleep at night without a guilty conscience.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
So what I'm doing right now, I'm just cleaning it off with some wax and grease remover. But before I did that, what I did, and I'm going to bring my tools over here. Here's my bucket of water. And without using a sponge, what I did is I took some 1500 on a block. Okay, this is 1500 wet on a block. And what I did is I sanded that edge really, really good from one end to the other. And if you notice the way that I taped this off, I back taped it. And what that means is when I take this edge, the paper was hanging down here. So when I flip it over, it'll give it a soft edge right here. Because what we're going to do on this, we're going to blend this paint. We're going to blend the paint, then we're going to blend some clear, and then I'm going to show you how to melt the clear into the existing clear. I'm going to melt the new clear into the existing clear, and then possibly, okay, more than likely we will have to buff this, but it's going to make it a lot easier to buff when we get to that stage. So don't fear, what I'm going to show you can apply to anywhere on your vehicle, on any edges that you might not have got all the paint on. We're going to eliminate painting the whole body panel by blending the paint into this lip and then burning it in and melting it into the original clear coat that's on the car now. So I don't know if you're going to be able to actually see the situation here, but if you look in this area right here, you can see there's kind of a darker shadow. It almost looks like a greenish color instead of a solid yellow. It has to actually be at the right light angle to really see it, but that's where we're going to be blending our paint, is right in the middle here, underneath, of course. So yeah, you can kind of see it. I don't know if you can or not, but if you can see it, that's great. Then you know what we're going to be doing here, and you kind of got the visual idea of what's going on. Now, what we're going to use on this little trick here that I'm going to show you is we are going to use a touch-up gun. We are not going to use our big spray gun. Using a touch-up gun, we're going to be able to contain, all right, we're going to be able to contain the area that we want to spray and concentrate only on that area. So it's important that you have a touch-up gun, and make sure that the touch-up gun is clean and can spray a full pattern. You're looking at my gun saying, yours isn't clean. Yes, it is clean. The outside of it's a little dirty, but it is very clean inside the gun. Now, I have the paint right here. We're going to go ahead and pour that into, I've already strained this, by the way. Make sure that you strain your paint. Very important. I'm going to go ahead and pour it into my spray gun. And you can see it doesn't take much, okay? Because we're only going to put a couple coats of paint on there. But the way that we're going to do it is it's going to go on very thick. We're going to turn our air pressure to the accommodating air pressure that we need to do our coverage, and we're going to keep it contained by using our touch-up gun. If we were to use our full-bore spray gun, then we would have to paint the whole deck lid. But by using this, we're going to eliminate that, and this is going to go really quick and easy, and we're going to be done with it in a very short time. All right, I got my exhaust fan going over here because we want to make sure that we keep our area, what can we say, contamination free from the toxic fumes. I will not be wearing a mask on this situation due to the fact that I am showing you a lesson here, but you should always wear a mask. Since we are going to use our touch-up gun on this, it's not really necessary due to the fact that we should not get a lot of overspray. So we're going to go ahead and set our gun. I'm going to get the air pressure where I want it. And then we're going to make sure that our pattern Okay, so the pattern that I'm using on this fix, it's going to be partially round. It's not going to be a big fan because we want to concentrate just on this area here. We don't want to paint everything. And I'm going to turn my air pressure way down. You can kind of see what we're talking about. Okay, there's our pattern. It's not a wide pattern. It's not a round pattern, but it's a pattern that's going to let us concentrate on just this area only. So what I did when I painted that, I was watching my pattern and I was trying to hold the pattern right on that body line. I don't want to bring it above the body line because then what's going to happen when we blend our clear into our paint job, we'll have to bring the clear up higher. And we're really trying to stay away from this tape line right here. Because if we build the clear up on the tape line instead of blend it in, what's going to happen is there'll be a very faint line right there, and we don't want that. Even though we rolled our paper back to make a soft edge, it will still give us a very, very faint line in this area. We don't want that. So you want to concentrate on the area only that you need to paint, and that's it. So as you can see, we're not getting a lot of overspray in the air due to the fact that we're using our HVLP touch-up gun, and we're also covering what we need to cover to get the paint on the vehicle the proper way. Adjusting your spray gun and bringing your air pressure down is the key to blending a situation like this. Okay, now that we have blended our paint into our edge, because that's what this is all about, and this applies to anywhere on the vehicle that an edge you might have missed. Sometimes a lot of people, when they paint a vehicle like this, an overall paint job, they miss the rocker panels. They might spray the rocker panels, but they don't get enough paint down there, so when you look up underneath, it looks kind of ghosty looking instead of solid. And this is where this would come in handy. So I got to clear coat it still. And I'm going to go ahead and repeat my process by doing a clear job on it. Now I'm only going to put 2 coats of clear on this. I'm not going to put 3 full wet coats. It doesn't take a lot of clear. And when you see the way that I blend it in, you're going to understand that whatever we're doing now on top of the clear that's on the car, it's all going to be one. It's not going to be 2 separate layers. Watch, listen, and learn as we get the clear mixed up. Okay, so I got my clear mixed up. Now another thing is, normally on a situation like this, you would let the paint dry, and then you come back, you put another coat of paint on, another coat. But when you use a touch-up gun and you set the air pressure properly with your pattern, you don't have to do that, because the air that you are using is set at a pressure where it's actually drying as it's going on. We're already ready to put the clear on. Let's get over there and let's get her done. All right, I went ahead and decided I'm going to wear my spray mask on this. I'm very leery of not using your safety equipment, and I am teaching you how to do this, but I got to protect myself as well. So before I go any further, I want to explain what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and set my air pressure to the pressure that I want. And now, as I apply the clear, I'm going to go ahead and open the pattern. I'm going to have the pattern open just a little bit more, because now what we're going to do, we're going to blend our clear, but we don't want to go up to that tape line. Okay, probably right there is where we're going to have it. And now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and spray this clear on here, but I'm going to blend it into the original clear and paint up in this area right here. Remember, we stopped our paint at this line, so now we're going to go just a hair above that line, but we don't want to go all the way up to this line. Okay, I just got done putting the second coat on. Now what I'm going to do before that coat actually dries 100% is I am going to dump my clear out of my gun. I want everybody to pay attention to this. So I just dumped the clear out. I'm going to put a little bit of lacquer thinner in my gun, and I want to clean my gun out, kind of get some of that residue out. We don't really care about getting it all out, but we want to get most of it out. And then the trick to blending, to make it all blend together and to make it one, is we're going to take our urethane reducer. We're going to take our urethane reducer, just like this. And this is actually a double whammy because we're actually cleaning the gun out as well. But we're going to take our urethane reducer, and then we're going to spray that panel, and we're going to melt that clear back into the original clear. Now, the key to doing this, and the name of the game, the trick, is to do this while your clear is still wet. You don't want to do it after the clear dries. So we're going to go ahead and take our spray gun, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray this area, and I'm going to blend this reducer into the original paint. Before I do that, what I want to do want to lift my paper up, just like this, and you can see where the edge is. Okay, I want to lift that paper up, and I'm going to bend it over, because I taped it right on that edge right there. And now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and take our reducer, and we will blend our reducer into the clear. Alright, it's been approximately a day or two since I painted this. I let it dry overnight, and then I kind of got busy on something else, so I didn't have time to come back and finish it, but that's what we're here for now. So what we want to do is peel our paper back very carefully. And you can see this is the edge that I taped it on. And we're not going to throw this paper away. I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. We're going to take it, and we're going to go up about 3 inches. We're going to try to tape it back on here. And the reason we're doing that is because we're getting ready to buff the edges. Alright, I noticed it was a little bit rough on the edges, so what I want to do is I want to take my spot buffer and just buff that edge right there where I blended the reducer into the clear. So I'm going to take my used 1500, this is not a new piece, this is an old piece of 1500, and I'm just going to very lightly sand it, just like that. I'm going to go all the way across. And if you notice, I'm not buffing the bottom here, I don't need to. The bottom came out really nice because I laid it on there perfect. Alright, I blended that paint in, then I came back with my clear, and then I took my reducer and I melted it. I melted all that into one. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my rubbing compound, and we are going to go ahead and spot buff this area right in here where I blended the paint in, or should I say the reducer. Before we do any buffing, we want to take the rubbing compound, we want to rub it in there with our pad. You can see how I'm doing that. I'm just taking it, and the reason I'm doing that is I don't want a lot of wax flying in the air. Sorry. Always wear your safety equipment when doing a job that requires it. And then on this particular job, I think I'm going to go ahead and take my Perfected Final Finesse. And what this is basically a polish that you would use with the foam pad. And we're just going to go over that to make sure and ensure that we get all the wax off and there's no swirl marks in it. And there you go. We are now done blending our paint. Okay, we blended this bottom lip in. Okay, remember there wasn't enough paint here, so we had to blend that. We blended it up to this edge right here, and then we came back with our clear, and we went a little bit higher because we wanted to make sure that whatever overspray of paint that was on there, we wanted to cover that. And then the third step was we took our reducer, we went ahead and laid the reducer on there, and that melted everything together. We waited overnight, possibly a little longer, came back, buffed it out, and this is as shiny as a mirror finish, and it feels like liquid glass. So that was a very easy fix. It was a quick fix. It was a fix that says, I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to get depressed. It's a fix that says it's a done deal. And we can now go ahead and pull all the tape off the car. You can see that I covered the car. I didn't want to get any overspray on it. We're going to peel all the tape and all the plastic off the car. And this car can be detailed out on the deck lid. And you can see why I wanted to cover it. See how the wax, okay, we didn't want to get that all over the car. But this car's ready for delivery. We fixed it, it's done. And it's time to go down the road and work on something else. And I'm not looking like I am too happy because now we got to start the uphill climb of doing all the body work on this Mercedes-Benz to get this painted and down the road like we just did on our Roadrunner. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete, letting you know that sometimes situations aren't as bad as you really think they are. And if you just step back and look at it and calm down and relax, the situation will find its own solution and you'll be in hog heaven as far as relaxing and getting her done and doing it right. We'll see you later.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.